Hey, this is Sky. Welcome to my YouTube channel. A big source of suffering for people is not seeing the world clearly, not seeing it for what it truly is. People a lot of times don't really seem to understand the difference between what they want and what is. Between this ideology that they create within their belief system of the way that shit's supposed to be, this righteousness, this ideology of right and wrong, good and bad, this is the way it's supposed to be. And people get really freaked out about this shit when it doesn't go how they think things are supposed to be. You know, the world almost never goes how you think it's supposed to go. I don't know if it's a thing that men do or if it's just a thing that the men I know do, but it seems like this is a masculine trait, a flaw. I'm not sure why. Maybe because a lot of guys are ideological, live in a world of fantasy. Not to belittle anybody, but we have goals. We're constantly, everybody does, you're constantly working towards your goal. Your goal is in the future. So that could be looked at as a fantasy. It's not right here. We have to project forward and look forward and think about potentialities. So we don't just arrive at old age by accident. We get there very calculated so we can provide for our families, our grandchildren, leave something for the next generations. I don't know, maybe that's it. Maybe that's why we get so righteous, so lost in this the way shit's supposed to be kind of conversations. A lot of guys are really stressed out these days, really feeling depressed and powerless and hopeless and just down because of what the world, you can just start naming off all the various fucked up things. And then you have your own life. It's not just, all these various things you see on TV or on the news in your news feed. You just may have your own drama to add to it. Health problems, relationship problems, things like that. And maybe that just gets overwhelming. So it's a choice. I'm just trying to figure this out. A choice between powerlessness, which for somebody who's overwhelmed and feeling weak, the here and now can feel like a powerless position, and I know what that's like. I know what it's like to feel powerless and hopeless, and that's all about what's going on right now. So maybe it's easier when you're powerless and hopeless to transition, to switch your outlook towards ideology, towards your beliefs, towards this fantasy of the way shit's supposed to be. This perfect little world that you create in your mind where you're successful and everything is cool and all the problems that you're avoiding in the here and now don't exist. I think it's a real problem. A real cause, a root cause of suffering for a lot of people is this misunderstanding of what we can control and what we can't, of what's really going on versus what I want to have happen, which is a control issue. We want to control the world. I don't know why so many men want to be tyrants. It's one thing to be a warrior. And that's kind of what I aspire to be, and I train for every day. That's what this channel's all about. That's what this Mind, Body, and Soul program that I'm promoting is all about, is warriorship. Turning weaklings into warriors. I don't think warriors get lost in a game of fantasy, of supposed tos, of this is the way the world's supposed to be. Why isn't it going my way? Why isn't it going the way that I want it to go? Why aren't people acting how I want them to act? think the warrior looks at it more as a personal journey. It doesn't have to be solitary, although there's solitary aspects of your training. But your journey doesn't have to be alone. The warrior doesn't have to be a tyrant, doesn't have to be a ruler. But they're not just stuck in survival like the rest of motherfuckers. They're able to thrive in a war. A war is nothing to a warrior, because they're always training for it. And they practice living in the here and now, accepting reality, accepting the rain. Instead of being bitchy because it was supposed to be a nice day. My fucking phone said it was going to be nice and now it's raining. Ah! You know, I've seen people go through that exact freak out. It ruins the whole day. You talk to them an hour later, you over it? No, it's not supposed to be raining. This is that tyrant mentality. It can get quite depressing because people don't act the way we want them to. People betray, people lie, cheat, and steal. People self-inflict harm, they self-destruct, and they bring everybody down with them. Not all people, but some people do this. There's some real fucked up loser motherfuckers in this world. We all know that. You have to accept that we don't live in a Norman Rockwell painting. Those paintings were not reality. They were a fantasy. A lot of motherfuckers think that that shit is real. This is what nostalgia is about. I think nostalgia is a weird delusional sickness sometimes. I find myself becoming nostalgic. Everybody does. But there's some people that get lost in it because they can't see the here. They can't really be in the here and now. They can't see the here and now. They're just focused on why things aren't going the way that they wished they would go, the way that their little story had it all worked out. Reality and what I want are always two different avenues, but some people have a hard time figuring that out. And then they will revert back to a time in their past, most likely recreating it in a fantasy-like way. And so many people, especially baby boomers, are doing this right now. And they're spending millions of dollars on bullshit Camaros that were redneck fucking race cars. When I was a teenager, you know, these muscle cars were worthless. It was a redneck race car. Rich people didn't buy hot rods. They bought fancy sports cars. And now those same cars are going for, I watched the Barrett-Jackson auctions, I watched the Mecum auctions, they're going for big bucks, $400,000, $500,000, $1 million for bullshit cars. And I'm not trying to belittle you. You may have one, you're like, I love my Camaro. I like those cars too. I love GTOs. I love these cars. But it's because I grew up in a working class, poor white trash neighborhood. And those were cars that existed in my neighborhood. The neighborhood was flooded with those fucking cars and they were all worthless. Now those same cars are all worth shitloads of money because you have a generation of weak motherfuckers who can't deal with the way shit is right now, and they all want to go and live in the past. And they set their fucking garages up like these little man caves from the 50s, and they listen to 50s music or music from their childhood. A whole generation is doing this, is living in the past, in nostalgia. There's a lot of people that are just simply living in anger and depression. There's a lot of people that are just feel hopeless. And it's not like anything in their lives has really changed. We all have fucked up shit in our lives. We all have good things and bad things. That doesn't change until you die. But can you have to learn to accept where you are? Be happily dissatisfied. Always happily dissatisfied. Always wanting more. That's healthy. That's drive. That's ambition. But if you want to actually get to your goals and make some real ground, have those treads actually working, you need to be able to stop living in the fucking clouds. You need to be able to actually ground yourself and live in the here and now, and stop having this kind of Norman Rockwell fantasy of the way that life should be, because it's never going to be that way. Stop reverting to the past and living in nostalgia because you're avoiding what's going on in the present. Live in the here and now and accept it. This is what warriors do. This is what warriors do. This is what the samurai does. It's all food for thought. Thanks for watching.